Hey everyone, welcome back to the Bitcoin Miners and Investors Support Group. I will be your, what would they call me? I guess they would call me I would be the sponsor, I guess, right? So you guys can ask me all the questions. I'll walk you guys down the line here. We'll get through everything today. But it should be a fun show. We're going to get over, well, we're going to talk about what I sold today, what I bought today as well. I did close my position on one of the miners. We'll talk about that in a second here. We'll look at what Bitcoin did today. It did pretty much what I thought it was going to do. Come back down a little bit. It didn't go down as far as I thought it might go down, but I think that might be okay still. And Bitcoin's actually going up right now. Miners were, for the most part, in the red, right? There were a couple that were in the green today. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the HPC AI debate as well, right? What does that mean for the miners and potentially and things like that? I'll give you guys my thoughts on it. But as always, you guys know the drill here. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Please, please, please do your own research. And the full disclosure below that as well. If you guys enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously here. And let's take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners, and we'll get into everything else. So Bitcoin today was down just a little bit. Went down a little bit further, then it kind of went back up here on the day, which is fine. But I wanted the RSI to come down a little bit more than what it did today. But Bitcoin today closed out just down 0.3% on the day. It was down $206. We closed at 67,402. We are now up, and we're battling again with our resistance here, which is kind of our downward trend line here, going all the way back to where we were at 73,000 up here, right? Kind of the peaks here, more or less. It is battling with that right now. If we look at maybe the 15-minute chart, yeah, we reached above it, came down, actually down to it. Sometimes I'm amazed by how close I get these lines. And that's all by luck. There's absolutely no skill in this. This is just drawing the lines and then looking where things might go. And then sometimes you can see how well they play out, actually. So Bitcoin is doing pretty well. It's at 68,000 right now. We're getting a little overheated here on the RSI. On the 15-minute chart, we might come back down. We'll see. Or it could go sideways for a while here while Bitcoin actually goes up. So we'll see how that plays out. Today, like I said, the miners for the most part were in the red, except for Riot here. All the small miners were down. All the ETFs were down as well. So yeah, kind of what we needed. We needed a little bit of a healthy pullback in these guys along with Bitcoin. I don't know if we got it, but it might be enough for what we need to go further. Okay. So let's get into the HPC debate a little bit as well. And then we'll get into what I sold and what I bought. I'll give you guys the reasons behind it as well here. So let's go back here. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin so far is, well, when I refresh this, it was up 5.95% on October. So still looking pretty good there right now. Okay, so today, a couple of things happened here. Fred Thiel from Marathon posted this. I thought this was actually a pretty good explanation of what's going on here. It's kind of what I'm also thinking the same thing. And then we also had the spaces hosted by Adrian and DR Lewis for Wolf Web3 around 5 o'clock Central Time. Today, I was part of that as well. We talked about HPC AI and all that stuff that's going on there. And there's a lot of great people on there. Definitely check that space out if you can. I believe I retweeted that when it was happening. So there should be a link in my X profile or X Spaces, whatever you want to call it, in there. Definitely take a listen to it. Great 1 hour conversation about all that's going on there. Had a bunch of great people on there. But it got me still thinking into all of this. But let's go through what Fred had to say here. We also have a comment from Sem Tabar from Bit Digital on this as well, which I agree with him as well on that. There's good points from both sides of this. But here's what Fred had to say. Now, it's number one. According to recent Bit ODA Compute, AI research report, the H100 market is crashing. What does this mean for all companies building GPU as a service business? Going down to number two here. In 2023, the demand for the NVIDIA's A1 specifics GPUs, the H100s, was very high, and the cost to rent per hour rose to almost as high as $8 an hour. But certain key market developments changed this dynamic. Okay, in 2024, Meta open sourced 400B model led companies to shift from expensive H100 training to fine tuning, reducing demand for H100s, and an increased supply of H100s coupled with rise of cheaper alternatives for inference tasks further pushed prices down. You can also think about like Google's their own, I can't remember what they call their chips right now. I'm drawing a blank on it, but you guys know what Google has their own chip for large language models and all that stuff that's supposed to be even better than what the GPUs provide on it. So there's that. Competition from AMD and NVIDIA's upcoming Blackwell GPUs will likely continue to drive H100 prices below $2 per hour. I believe that also, and I look at it as more of a supply and demand economics on this. The more you have of the stuff out there available, people are going to be battling for customers and things like that, so the prices are going to be coming down, which is normal. And then technology obsolescence will make this very challenging for companies pivoting to HPC. Yes, I believe the same will happen there, but there's two caveats to this, and Sam brought those up. So if we look at Sam's, he said, Fred's not necessarily wrong. It's just a fact with hardware that units become less valuable over time, and as more newer models are released. So, right, so he's saying about the economics there about it as newer machines come online. Kind of same thing with Bitcoin mining. The more time goes by, the more efficient, the more hash rate we get from these miners, all that stuff. It's the same thing with GPUs. He says here, it's worse for ASICs. There is far less resale value for ASIC bought in 2022 than an H100. That is also true, but you're also paying for H100 like $50,000, whereas for ASIC you might be paying somewhere between $2,000 and $8,000, probably around between $2,000 and $8,000, depending on when you bought it, right? So there's also that to consider there. Also, very importantly, this only a problem for companies that bought H100s on spec without long-term contracts. So we're seeing that already, right? We heard this from IREN as well. And what he's talking about there is if you don't get a long-term contracts at a certain price point, then this does definitely become troublesome for companies that only get like short-term contracts, 3 months, 6 months. I would say maybe a year might be a little bit better, but those short-term contracts are going to be a problem because each time you get a new customer, you're renegotiating a newer, lower rate possibly for those machines. So we saw that with IREN, which I just said. IREN came out originally about 6 months ago. They were saying that their H100s that they had at that time were looking to return on investment ROI in about 24 months, right? A couple months later, just about a month or two ago, Dan from IREN came out and said they're looking like they're going to be closer, maybe 30 months now, right? So that time frame for ROI is increasing as time goes on, as more and more supply or more H100s and now H200s come online with these providers, that this is going to continue happening and you're going to see decreased prices. It's the same thing that we saw with the early internet. If you recall going back, this is probably going back 20 some years now, but you had web hosting providers, right? In the beginning, you were paying like $100 plus to host website. You had limited amount of bandwidth that you could utilize on that. Speed was also an issue there, storage as well. But as time went on, those prices continued to come down as we had more and more providers getting into the space. So we're seeing the same thing happening here with HPC AI. Now, with Sam and company there at Bit Digital, right? He's been talking about HPC AI for a long time, and I think they're going to do very well as long as they continue to get long-term contracts, which they have been getting right now, at least historically. We'll see if that trend continues also for them. But the companies that are trying to get into HPC, which is like TeraWulf, IREN, who else is in there? Cypher, right? Those guys are, one, either going to have to build out basically a tier 3 data center, which is expensive as heck, or what they're maybe I'm just guessing on my own part here, estimating, that maybe they're looking to turn those sites into prospects for like the hyperscalers, that they could possibly buy those sites out from them at maybe a little bit of a premium at that point. Because none of these guys, none of the miners have the capital to actually build out a huge data center tier 3 and then install 100,000, 200,000 machines in there. They just don't have the capital right now. Sure, they could take on debt potentially, but do you have the customers for it? So you really need the customer there in front to then, kind of build out if need be, that we've seen here. The only one that's kind of different here is Core Scientific with CoreWeave. CoreWeave is trying to become a hyperscaler, and they need to get there fast. They had a bunch of billions of dollars thrown at them, and that's why they partner with Core Scientific to build out as quickly as they can, because they have the megawatts there available. They're retrofitting their facilities right now to become like a tier 3 data center, but it's also expensive. And the only reason that Core Scientific is doing it is because CoreWeave basically paid them up front to be able to retrofit it. Otherwise, I don't know if they would be able to do it. So my thoughts are, yes, this is definitely going to be a transformative space, especially for going forward for humanity, HPC AI, and everything else they can bring with it. But it's going to be dependent on customers that you can get in there. If you can't get the customers, you're probably not going to be getting into HPC AI. Sure, you could get these short-term customers maybe, But the hyperscalers I think are going to, like they have with everything else, they're going to dominate the space more than the Bitcoin miners. The only good thing is that the hyperscalers might buy out sites or buy out the miners completely and do whatever they want with those sites and megawatts that are available to them, because the miners do have a lot of megawatts. But we'll see how that plays out. So that's why I've been kind of skeptical on the miners getting, huge deals from hyperscalers, because they typically want to go at it alone. But we'll see. Okay. All right. That is it on that one. And let's get into what I sold, what I didn't sell today. I sold Core. I bought Core a couple months back, probably 4 or 5 months back ago. I'm up 100% on it. And I'll give you guys my justification for why I sold Core and bought into Bitfarms, Cleanspark, and IREN today as well. I bought a bunch of shares of Bitfarms, about 2,000 shares in them, about 100 shares in Cleanspark, and 115 shares in IREN as well. So I transferred that, basically what I made on Core, into those other guys because there's a reason for it. And let's take a look at that reason here, why I think that is the case. So if we look at Core here, as far as how it has performed here recently, in the last year, basically year to date, you can see that recently Core here has been kind of going, some 50-minute, has been going up still, and I think it's getting pretty well valued right now. We know that their HPC business is going to start sometime in 2025 with CoreWeave. But if you look at how far they've gone up here, just from basically like April, right? They were at 295. They are now up to, or they were, at least the day they came back down, but they were up almost 360%. I think a lot of the good has already been gotten out of them. And they were even lower than that prior to coming out of Chapter 11. So a lot of people already got into it. We do also know that they have an aging fleet of ASIC miners right now. They do have a potential deal with Block to get an additional 15 exahash. But I think if they do get it, they're going to use that to possibly change out the older machines that they have here. And, right, what is that going to mean for us? So they do have, let me see here. If we count these up here, some of these guys we're not even using here. So roughly we have approximately, what is that, 108,000 machines plus whatever's left in here, 21. Which ones are we using here? We're using these 38. So about 140,000 machines, right? They could change out maybe half of these, put in the 15 exahash potentially in there. That would get them to maybe what is that in petahash here? Let's see. This, and then going down here to that is 15 exahash right there. So 7.5 and an additional 15. That would get them to 22 plus what they have down here. That would get them to 21, about maybe 30, 35, right? Maybe around there someplace. But we don't have anything concrete on them right now. And I think with the bull run happening right now, I believe that the Bitcoin miners that are growing are going to catch a better bid potentially. I could be wrong on this, but that's kind of my thoughts on it. And the ones that are really growing into right now and into next year early as well, those guys might catch a better price premium or price appreciation in the stock going forward. So that's the reason why I got out of it. I was up 100% on it as well. I'm like, okay, I'm up 100%. I didn't have that much. I only had like 450 shares of CORZ. So I'm like, okay, let's put it into the ones that I think might actually do a little bit better. So that's why I got into Bitfarms, Cleanspark, and IREN for those main reasons here. We do know that Cleanspark is getting to 37 exahash sometime this year, potentially even higher. And then they're getting to about 50 exahash probably quickly in probably like Q1 of next year. So they're going to be doing really well. We got IREN also getting to, they're supposed to be getting to 31 exahash this year as well. And then possibly 40 also relatively quickly here. So those all kind of beat out where Core would be right now on it. And then we got Bitfarms here, which is lagging tremendously right now. And I have stated before in previous videos that I'm giving him a little bit more chance here to get their hash rate growth up and running in order for me not to sell the stock, because they have been lagging quite tremendously. But they're also getting to 21 exahash, and they have plans to get to 35 exahash sometime in 2025 as well, possibly in the first half, and then even more than that, based on if they can close on the deal on Stronghold, everything else. So these are like the strong horses that I'm getting into right now that I think might do really well. Could I be wrong on some of these guys? Sure. But I'm still up on Cleanspark right now. I'm in the green. I'm up like 200% currently on Cleanspark. IREN, I'm up just roughly around 30% on it. Bitfarms around the same amount. even with all the stocks coming down in price recently, but they're catching a little bit here. So that's kind of what I wanted to do here. That's why I wanted to explain it to you guys here as well, why I did that. That doesn't mean that I don't think CORZ is going to do well going forward. I think it could still do very well. But I think going forward, unless we get, and this is a big if, right? So this is the gamble here. If they come out tomorrow, next week, whenever it might be, relatively early, that they're adding the 15 exahash, getting to whatever that might be, 25, 30 exahash here relatively quickly, that could put a wrench in my thought process here, potentially. But if they still are at where they are right now, with the exahash that they have about 28.5 exahash right now, we can see that their Bitcoin production has been coming down because they're not changing out those older machines or adding machines. So I just wanted to move things aside and switch some things around on it. But we'll see how this plays out. Could be wrong on it, or I could come out really good on it as well. So we'll see. But I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts on it, my explanation on it as well. All right, so that's it. Let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things here, and we'll call it a day. So today is going to be a good day to maybe end a little bit early. We've been going pretty late here the last couple of days. All right, there we go. There's that. Let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things here. Okay. What do we got here? So bear with me while I try to catch up with some of your guys' comments here. Okay. See, Andre says here, hi Seb, I sold CORZ about a month ago and added Cleanspark at 750 range. Glad I did, as I think CORZ is about out of ammo for the next while. That's kind of what I was thinking too. So it's good that I'm not the only one thinking the same thing. HG Tech says Krypton is 68,000 right now for Bitcoin. Let's see, where's Bitcoin right now? Yeah, went down a little bit here. 67,867 right now. It's down a little bit, but not much. Okay. Question, is it still possible that another company than Riot currently makes an offer for Bitfarms for overtake? How likely do you think that is? I don't think so, not at this stage. They're going to be having to pay, 230 was obviously not enough. I think you're going to need at least $4 to like $6, maybe $7 in order for the board and everybody else to agree on that. Because I still think that they can get to there, at the very least get there, if not a lot more. So I don't think that's going to be the case, but I could be wrong. Okay. Kank says, the volatility in Galaxy drives me batty. Should have been day trading it. I don't really track Galaxy, so I wouldn't know, but possibly. Which miner did he sell? I sold CORZ. I didn't have that much. I had 450 shares in it, and I sold that to put into Bitfarms, Cleanspark, and IREN. Okay. Where's my fellow Riot guy? You're talking about Christopher? You need to show my bags. Chris is great. Okay. Buy more Cleanspark, IREN, Bitfarms. Let's see. Okay. Patrick, so it means miners that are playing HPC AI will not be as profitable as people think. Possibly, depending on the contracts that they get there. If you're looking for, the deal that CORZ got with CoreWeave was just, I think, a one in like a decade deal possibly. Because CoreWeave got an infusion of a bunch of capital, billions of capital, and they needed to do something with it relatively quickly. So how do you do that? You partner with somebody relatively quickly that can get you up and running, right? CoreWeave put in a bid to buy out CORZ. I think if they put in a better bid around maybe $2 billion instead of $1 billion that they did, they might have been able to secure that at that point. But they were a little too low on the price mark, I think, on that one. But it's definitely interesting times. They're saying that there's so much demand for HPCI. Okay, I get that. There might be. But you also have to think about how many customers are there really for HPCI right now, or companies that will develop software on top of HPCI for them to be used in mass by companies, doctors, lawyers, whatever it might be, engineers, programming developers, all that stuff, right? There's probably maybe 100 companies, maybe a little bit more than that. I don't know, right? Around the world, probably even more than that. But a lot of those people are going to be looking for Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Oracle maybe as well. Others that have a proven track record and can scale your business with them, right? So you can build out the models, everything else that you need there, and then you can scale the business to then allow them to reach a much larger audience, in the millions, hundreds of millions, whatever it might be. Okay. Kaz, hi Kaz, Bitfarms holder, assemble 160,000. Wow, you got a lot. I'm only at, what am I at, 25,000 shares right now, roughly? Yeah, I mean, Kaz has got a lot. Way to go. Par, what do you do for work? Is asking Kaz. Okay. Kaz says crypto related. Okay. Which three miners are you, in your opinion, most likely target for a buyout by the big hyperscalers? I would think that might be TeraWulf. I think TeraWulf has not only that one site that they're in. There might be a buyout. Cypher and IREN, I think, will be a buyout for some of their sites. I don't think they're going to buy out them completely. They don't want the Bitcoin side of the things, right? The stuff that's already been built with Bitcoin and mined, all that stuff, they don't want that. They want the next possibilities that they have, which is the land, the sites, the megawatts available, and things like that. So that's kind of where I'm thinking things would go there. Okay. Hi Seb, looks like Riot will have a nice rally the rest of the week, while Cleanspark might show a bit of a pullback. Your view on it? Possibly. Riot has done Riot was in the green it was in the green today. Riot was way undervalued anyways, I think. And if they can provide some better numbers for October as far as operational uptime, then yeah, we could even see a nice ride there as well. Cleanspark went down a little bit here today, but it's had a nice rally as well. So yeah, I mean, anything is possible with those guys, and I'd be okay with that. I think in the long run, they're all going to do very well. Some might do better than others. And that's kind of what we're trying to figure out here is which ones might do better. Could we be wrong on it? Yes. But we're going by data and things like that. Sentiment, opinions, and all that stuff goes into play with it as well. But we'll see. Okay, I was just looking at that. What did Seb sell? Yeah, CORZ, you guys already commented on it. Okay. Sour Melon Gaming says, my heart dropped. I thought he sold Bitfarms. No, I did not sell Bitfarms. I added a lot more. Okay. Did Ben reply? No. So I posted through X, not comments, but X private chat, to Ben if he would be open to the possibility of having a spaces on X. Maybe about half an hour to an hour long. We'd ask him about what's going on here recently. He can provide us with the updates, if anything, he can provide. And then we'd ask him some questions on, what's going on there. But I haven't heard anything back yet from him. But like I said yesterday's video, it could take a couple of days before he responds. Dana White says, Seb's selling Bitfarms will cause the stock to drop 50%. Just kidding. Yeah, I don't think I have that kind of influence. Okay. Hi, Seb. What about your pops? He still have CORZ? Yeah. I mean, he's got thousands of shares of CORZ. He's hanging in there. He's hanging through the cycle here. It'll be interesting to see how the stock does as it gets closer to generating revenue from the CoreWeave deal. They might have a nice leg up there as well. But I'm thinking that maybe Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners that are growing might do better, maybe in the next, 8 to 12 months possibly, where Core has done a tremendous job here this year. It's already, I think, outpaced all these guys. Especially since you look at it, since it went down to 84 cents at the bottom. If people got in at that point, I mean, you're up 100x, 200x, whatever it might be. Okay, let's see here. Please tell Ben in the interview that all your subscribers are selling if Ben cannot give good answers. Okay. Let's see. What miner has the lowest hash rate? Those are the smaller ones. You're looking at Griffin at that point. Who else might be there for soft mining? Griffin, Sado, any sort of Sphere 3D. They're pretty low. Those are all really low on that one. Do you think Core will use HPCI profits to expand their mining operations or pursue other HPCI contracts? The contract that they have with CoreWeave is just such it's a freaking fabulous contract there. I don't know if they're going to be able to get another one like that. And then so basically what they're becoming at that point is an infrastructure play where they're building out data centers and letting people lease that space in those facilities to have their data centers, HPC, whatever it might be that they want to do. I don't know if they want to get into that. Maybe. It's more of a stable income going that way, but they might also use part of it to grow out their Bitcoin mining. That's kind of what Dan has said in the past as well, that's kind of what they want to do. So we'll see how they do. Okay. James says, I've sold CORZ last week and went to IREN at 8:30. Seemed like the right choice, and CORZ looking exhausted with limited upside. Okay, so I'm not the only one seeing that. Okay. Any particular reason why Mara has been mining inefficiently the past week or so? Do you think they still can achieve 50x by the end of the year despite the recent hiccup? Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't know if it's just issues with their Mara pool, with the software there, maybe something. They did an update and didn't work out or something. I don't know what's going on there. I doubt that they would have all their sites down for like several hours without generating anything. Or it could be just luck. But I know there was like one day where they were down for like 24 hours where they didn't mine anything. So I'm willing to bet it was something software related. Maybe an update that they did that screwed everything up and they had to fix it. But I don't think it was the sites being down. Let's see. Someone said, I know you're not a fan of Bitfarms right now, but I'm buying big in more Bitfarms tomorrow. I'm so convinced in this next it's the next biggest runner. Well, if I wasn't a big fan of Bitfarms, I wouldn't have bought 2,000 shares today. So I bought a lot. I'm still a big fan, but I'm giving him a little bit more time to get their act together, because at that point, if they can't get their act together by then, I might be looking to sell. Okay, let's see. Hi, Sabrai was the only green miner today. Do you know why? Thanks. I don't. Well, part of the day, Cleanspark was up. Some of the other miners were also up throughout the day, and then they came back down. I don't know why that is, why Riot just continue to be up in the green. Could be that I've said this before, I think they are way undervalued from where they should be. But, that's the only thing I can think of. Tanya says the canary in the coal mine is Coinbase. Maybe. Yeah, I could see that. See, Eddie says, not to hit on Bitfarms, but they are too slow, has a track record of not meeting targets. Riot takeover, heavy dilution to buy Stronghold. You are better selling and buying IREN and Cleanspark, in my opinion. I mean, those are all valid points. I agree with you there. But I also feel like they are just way undervalued. And we just need some good news from them to grow their hash rate closer to... I still think that they're going to get to 21 exahash this year. I did say that I think they might be maybe off by a couple weeks on that, but I think they'll get pretty close to that, if not to get there actually. Let's see. If HPC revenue starts to drop, shouldn't the price of the machines also drop, making the CapEx go down? Yes, they will drop, but they're not dropping as much as the ASIC miners are. You can still always get something for those, because those are, you can use them for a lot of things. Whereas Bitcoin miners, you can only use them for Bitcoin mining and some other coins. Oh, there's Chris. Riot is the king. Chris, we were looking for you, buddy. Total domination of Riot today. About to Riot and Jason. Good to have you here. Let's see. Kay says 320,000 shares. Of what company is that? My gosh. You got a lot in there. Okay. So do you think Bitfarms will announce growth before the end of the month? I don't know if they will. They should. If they got the growth already in place, it's getting energized, yeah, announce it. I think it would be good for the stock. Dank, yep, there's my guy. Yeah, Chris is in here. I think it's because we went in a little early today. Chris might have been still sleeping. Okay. Okay. Looking at how much everyone holding Bitfarms here, there's no more stock in circulation for pumping. Perhaps that's the reason why it's not moving. I think there's still more stock out there. Chris says, Riot will make your wife happy. If it goes up, yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Hi, so looking at technical charts of BTC and miners, when do we know it's top? Do you see 20, 50, 100 EMA? Thanks. I haven't looked at the EMA. I looked at the simple moving average on those guys, and I'm going by the... kind of going by two things. I'm looking at the stock to flow ratio. I'm also looking at the power law. Both things are pointing to about 150,000 for Bitcoin, right? Roughly right around there. Could go up higher, could go lower than that, but that's kind of where we're guessing at. So that's why I'm probably going to start selling around 100,000, somewhere around there. I'm going to start selling small amounts, like 5% here, 5% there. I'm going to sell everything all at once because we don't know where the top's going to be. I don't know where the top's going to be. If you guys know where the top's going to be, let me know. But yeah, I'm just going to start slowly dollar cost averaging out of those. Let's see here. Thank you for the due diligence. Came in a little late, so I apologize if you said something relevant to what I'm about to ask. What are your thoughts on Riot? You think what happened last bull run will happen again? So last time Riot was up, like, what was it, 50, 60x from the bottom or something like that. Will that happen this time around? That is up to Riot. I think Riot's operational uptime has to improve. I think that is what's keeping the stock from doing much better than what it is. If they can do that, then I think they can get close to that. But even then, I mean, Riot was down to like $2-3 this time around in the bottom. If it goes up to $40-50, it's going to be pretty close, right? It can go maybe even higher than that. Okay. Star Milligan, Jason Les is back in the chat. Are you calling Chris Jason there? Let's see. Where do you see Bitcoin by the end of the month? And what about the end of November? Rough estimates, of course. I think we'll be somewhere around 75 to 80,000, I think, by the end of the month here, if things play out the way I think they might. And then by November, I would like to see Bitcoin to be closer to like possibly closer to 100,000 at that point, 90, 95,000, something like that. And then get to December where we go, a couple more thousand up in the first couple of weeks. And then we go down a little bit because people are going to take in profits and putting, making their books look good for the end of the year. But we'll see. Okay. Let's see. Miners also suffer from depreciation due to ever-growing hash rate. Same situation. Miners will also suffer from that. They suffer more, I think, than HPC play. Right? Those hold the value a little bit better, a lot better actually than ASICs do. Okay. I believe IREN doesn't want to sell their site off. They can simply host or do a co-location. They have a lot of rack space in Canada, so companies can give them, and they can hook up GPUs up. Potentially, right? They don't have that much there. They do have some, but not that much. A lot of their megawatts that they do have is like in Texas area. They also have another, 1 gigawatts that hasn't been even announced yet where it's at. That's in the works. Okay. I remember when Riot led Mara last run. Yeah, I mean, sometimes they go back and forth which one's leading, but Marathon actually outpaced them, I believe. Okay. Plus, calls are super cheap compared to others. For Riot, yes. Any update on Bonta stockpile? Let me see if I can pull that up, see if there's any updates on that. Let's go to the SEC website really quick. Go there, search for Bitfarms. What do we got there? See if we got any updates here. I checked it yesterday. There was no updates. We do have report of foreign issuer. What is this here? Let's take a look at this here right now. Bitfarms report. Okay. On October 1st, the registration filed with Canadian Securities Regulation Authorities. What is this? Material change report dated October 1st. What is this? Trying to see. Omitted information. Applicable. Schedule A. Oh, Bitfarms provides September 20. Okay, that's all it is. Okay, I'm scheduling. Never mind, nothing there. Yeah, so no update on Bonta as far as what he's doing there with the shares that he does have left, about 6 million or so. We'll see how that plays out. Okay. Hi, sub. Why analysts' average target is 24 for Cleanspark? Is this for 2024? Do they upgrade different target when 2025? Is your target expectation? Yeah, my target's still around 60, 70. They're a lot more conservative based on where they're seeing things right now, right? For Cleanspark, I have in between. Where do I have in between right now? Right now, I think somewhere around where the analysts are at. I have in between 1528 and 2292, right? So they're kind of looking the same things that I'm looking at as far as their historical performance, revenues, things like that. Where are they going further? So I think that's kind of what they're looking at right now as well. Whereas once we start going into this bull run, we're going to have, FOMO kick in. Everything else is going to kick in. These guys are going to go off potentially, like we think, up and way, way beyond where we are seeing right now, because the revenues are going to be so much better. The profit margins are going to be so much better. It is just going to be all around better for the miners here. So, but yeah, that's the analyst there. Thanks to make Riot great again. Let's see here. Got in at CORZ at 5 cents when they filed for bankruptcy. Was my biggest gainer by far. Yeah, sold most of my shares at this point. Okay, see, I mean, there's a lot of people that did that. They're doing really good right now. Let's see here. Set better idea to tell Ben we're all going to sell if he doesn't do a space with you. Give us an update on answers questions. Maybe he is silent while finalizing some big news. Maybe. Yeah, just never. I always give the CEOs some time, right? They're busy doing other things. I don't expect them to respond right away to me. I give them a couple of days, and then if they don't respond, I'll, kind of send out another little text. Say, hey, do you have time or not? Try to be polite with them. What else here? Question: once my Bitcoin breaks 70,000, will MicroStrategy shoot up to 250? Thanks. Oh, jeez. I don't know on MicroStrategy. I think MicroStrategy still needs to come down a little bit more from where it's at. It was down a little bit today, not much, but take a look at it here. See, it's outperformed Bitcoin here quite dramatically. I think we need to come back down to like right around these levels, maybe right around 150 or so, and then continue on with Bitcoin here. So, but Bitcoin starts running, it might start running as well. But I'd like to see at least a pullback. I think it'd be healthier in the long run. Okay, there's that one. Okay. Seb, currently I'm holding BTC, Riot, IREN, Cleanspark, and MicroStrategy. Do you think this is a good portfolio for this? Yeah. Yep. I think that is a good one right there. You got MicroStrategy, which should be at least a 2x on Bitcoin. But then you got the miners, Cleanspark, IREN, which I think are great. Riot, if they fix their operations. Yeah, I think that's a great portfolio. Okay. Let's see. Rotating wins and runners to laggers. Yeah, you could say that, right? I'm looking at the ones that are beaten down and might have more upside potential. That's kind of why I'm looking at it. Okay. Hi, Seb. There was a talk Tuesday that BTC needs to do one more drop to 64,000 before taking off. Do you think yesterday's dip from 67 to 64,000 was it? Let's take a look. I don't know. I would have liked to see the dip a little bit more. Let me see here. Where's Bitcoin? Yeah, I mean, we went down to, we didn't really dip to 64. We dipped to 66. So like I said before, I think I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of a dip to possibly come back down here, retest the support here at 63,000, 64,000 roughly. That probably would have been ideal, maybe. But Bitcoin doesn't need to retest that. Bitcoin can continue to go up while the RSI stays flat or goes up and then down, up and down. We've seen this before. Where's it at? I want to point that out to you guys someplace. We've seen this when Bitcoin's going up. Right here. Right, Bitcoin was going up, it went down a little bit, and then it went up. So maybe more or less going flat here while Bitcoin is going up. So we can see that happen as well. There's really no reason it has to come down. I think it would be good, but it doesn't need to. Okay, back in here. Okay. I think they're starting to run all their facilities at 100% soon, Riot. That would be good. Time will tell. We'll see. Jason has said it's going to take a while for them. It could take a couple of months to possibly get to those numbers that we're expecting. I don't know why that is. I think they're just doing calibrating all that stuff that's happening there, fine-tuning it all. I guess that's what the reasons they're calling it. I don't know if that's it or if they're just waiting on colder weather, but we'll see. Okay. At what rate will Cleanspark ATM dilution be taking place? Any clue on it from now on? They still have the 800 million ATM that they got back in, what was it, March, April this year? I don't know how much they used up of it. We'll find that out when they report their fiscal year-end numbers here in about, I'm guessing, maybe 4 weeks or so. So we'll figure that out then. And then the 300 million that they're getting here is not dilution right now. It's just adding in another 300 million available to them to dilute later on in the future. Ullman says, sold half my Bitfarms this morning, costing me too much in opportunity lost. Can't take any more drama. Fair enough. I completely understand. Okay. It's been the second serve. Tanya, totally agree. Coinbase is a winner with altcoin season. If we get an altcoin season, I think we will, but I don't know if it's going to be the same like we've seen in the past. Okay. Do you think Bitcoin goes down to 43,000 in the short term? No, I don't see that happening. Okay. See how well is IREN will do in Q3 earnings, positive or negative, including their own time, cost of $7 million to get out of the hedging contract. Yeah. Bitfarms and Riot were the only two companies that actually had a positive growth in revenues from Q2 to Q3. Everybody else is going to be down, so I'm expecting down for IREN as far as EPS is concerned. Okay. What are the chances of a bull run extending into 2026? There's a possibility of that. The cycle's already different. We had a new all-time high before the halving event. That's never happened. We could. If we don't get to like 80,000 by the end of the year, I think we might be in an extended cycle. I would expect it to be higher than where it is right now. Let's see. Okay, what else we have here? Let's see here. That BTC 50 moving average is close from crossing the 200. Can't wait. Yep, that's getting close. Okay, where do you see Mara once it hits 100,000 for Bitcoin? Mara should be at least 2 to 3x from here where it's at. That's kind of where I would expect it to be if Bitcoin goes up from here, roughly above, what is that, 50,000 or 50% roughly? Right, roughly, would that be? Not even less than that. We're at 66. We're looking at, about 50 some percent. Okay. Well, what would your reaction be once BTC hits 100? Oh, I'd be happy as heck. But then I'd be also kind of like scared. It's like, okay, are we getting close to the top? Do I start selling now? Do I wait a little bit longer? There's going to be a lot of this hesitation, which is natural because you're thinking, okay, it could go up even more higher. But it's kind of like you have to remember to take profits. So that's going to be my biggest problem is taking profits. Because I'm an optimist. I think things are going to go better, go further. And that burned me last time. So that's something that I could definitely work on. Okay. Is 40-50 possible at that point? Sorry, didn't mean to message twice. 40-50, you're talking about Mara? At that point, they're at what? What are they at right now? Can't even think. Mara is at 18. Yeah, I would think that would be possible with them. Sadie, thank you so much. Likes to help the channel. Absolutely. Okay. Seems Bonta owns a holding company and could dump shares through it also. That's kind of what he's been dumping through it right now, I believe. Which miner did you just exit your position? That was Core. Yeah. Thanks, P5, for providing that. Let's see here. Right, investors. Jason, please improve operations. We've been talking about that for a while, and he knows about it. They got to do that. Question, price target for MicroStrategy. Oh, gosh. That's not an easy one to answer. MicroStrategy should do like a 2 to 3x on top of Bitcoin does. So Bitcoin goes 2x, 3x, you're expecting them to do at least 4 to 6x from where they are right now. That would be my estimate on that. Okay, covered that one already. P5 says I would buy MicroStrategy at 180. Okay. And that is paying a premium. Yeah, I think so as well. Or are you saying I wouldn't buy MicroStrategy at 180? Let's see. What do you think next cycle lows will be during the bear market? I think if we get up to 180,000, 200,000 with Bitcoin, I think the next lows for Bitcoin is going to be somewhere around between like the 40,000 and 60,000, somewhere around there. Somewhere around there. I just don't know exactly where, based on what it has done historically, where it's retraced back down to. So that's kind of where I'll be looking at. But if it's a different cycle, extended cycle, then that could be definitely off. Okay. Okay. I'm okay to let IREN and Cleanspark do the heavy lifting for me. Okay. Yep. Okay. P5 says, I believe their holdings versus market valuation suggests that they are way overbought. And I have the same feeling right now. That's MicroStrategy, that is. Is IREN a good stock to buy right now? I believe it is. I bought some more today. Okay. Seb, would you sell CORZ if you were up 4x and all in short-term capital gains? I don't like taxes. But I mean, if you're up 4x, and you can possibly make, that's the hard thing with CORZ. We really don't know how it's going to run with them not growing their hash rate, at least not right now. They do have things in the pipeline possibly, right? But we just don't know when that's going to happen here. So I'm looking at the next 8 to 12 months possibly. And I see other miners that might actually run more than CORZ has, because CORZ has had a huge run up here in the last 10 months after getting out of bankruptcy, right? They bottomed out at like 8 cents, 4 cents, whatever it was. And they're up to now $13, whatever it is right now. So, yeah, that would be your call. P5 says it's key is to take profits in increments. Yep, I would agree there. First sell is always the hardest. Yeah, I think you're right. Jax, thank you so much. Yeah, press like. If you guys enjoy it, press the like button. If not, hit the downwards button. Let's see, hi Seb. In BTC having cycle after BTC top, whether investors rotate their money into altcoins or large caps. Thanks. Let me read that again. In a BTC having cycle after BTC tops, where investors rotate their money into altcoins or large caps. They go into like probably large caps and things like that. They're gonna some will short the miners, and Bitcoin possibly as well. And they'll short the altcoins also and do those types of things, bring them way down, and then they'll park their money someplace else for the time being and get back into it. Rinse and repeat, I guess. Price target for IREN, please. I think it's still going to possibly get to around $80 maybe this cycle, depending on how much they've diluted here in the current quarter. That might change my numbers going forward, but we'll have to wait and see how that is. Let me see. I was about to buy core when it was 7, then all of a sudden price went up, so I missed it. Yeah, I got it in at like $6 something, and that was already running up a little bit there as well. But I'm like, this thing's gonna run up, so I just got into it. See, David says it is important for the miners not to become too big and not have the industry too concentrated. Yes, and they're not. The miners right now, the ones that I'm tracking here, the 12 are only. Right now, 29% of the network hash rate. So that's not too bad. And that's split between 12 of them. So I think Marathon has the most percentage there, about 5 or so. Then you got Cleanspark after that, along with IREN and Riot as well. Okay. Based on the questions people ask here, most will unfortunately get wrecked this cycle. People are here because of massive payouts, but they forget that it will comes with massive losses for others. Yes, it's every cycle like that, right? Anybody that buys in at the peak on anything, whether it's Google or anything, Bitcoin or anything like that, those people are going to be in the losses. And there's no way of fixing that. There's no easy way to do that. IREN or Cleanspark at these rates, both. I bought both today. I think they're still pretty low in price to where they're going to be going. Hank says, thank you, Sebastian. Have a great night. You too, buddy. I'll see you. I won't see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. We won't do a live stream tomorrow, but we'll probably see you on Sunday. Okay. I am thinking of selling core as well tomorrow. I am up 90%. Should I buy Cleanspark or add into my IREN position? My average for IREN is $8. I would say get into both. We don't know which horse is going to run faster. Cleanspark has a HODL. Okay. IREN has potential HPC play. So, it's just which one of those is going to get a better bid. Time will tell, I guess, but I'm getting into both. Patrick, have a good night too. Thank you so much for coming in. Let's see. Hi, Seb. Do you buy some tiny miner like Annie, etc., that might increase 10x in bull run? If so, what tiny miners would you recommend? Thanks. Oh, gosh. I would maybe look into DMG or Digihost. I think they have the best track record so far. Some of the smaller guys, Annie, I think they're, what are they? I just recently saw a news report on them about like a 15 megawatt site or something like that. But they still have older machines. They need to buy newer machines. They're not doing that. Digihost and DMG are at least buying newer machines. They're upgrading their fleets, so that's good there. But yeah, any of these guys, Sato could be something to keep an eye on. Griffin as well. Put a couple $100 in each one of those and see where the lottery takes you at that point. Let's see. Any good Bitfarms news in the near future? Hopefully hash rate growth. That's kind of what we're waiting on. Let's see. Okay. Will Cleanspark pass Mara's stock price anytime soon? Even if it does, what does it really mean? Their market capitalization is still going to be lower than All right, let's I think at that point that would be, because I think, let's take a look at it. Who has more shares outstanding right now? As of at least Q2 numbers here, we can see that Cleanspark has 248 million shares. Marathon has 294. So currently Marathon does have more. But you're really looking at there's market capitalization of the companies, and where are they at? Mara has 5.3 billion market cap, whereas Cleanspark has only 2.9, right? So they're still, what is that, about 2 point something billion behind them. But could they eventually overtake them? Possibly, right? As long as they continue to grow like they've been growing, get to 50 exahash early next year, come out with plans to get to whatever it might be, 7,500 exahash, even next year's maybe potentially. And if they overtake them on that in a short period of window, they could become possibly one of the biggest miners here. They have a nice solid position. They're getting close to overtaking Hut 8 here, potentially in the next month or two, possibly by the end of the year. They could be with a bigger HODL than Hut 8 has, which Hut 8 has been gathering for a much longer time, but they've been selling here a lot more recently here. So it's kind of interesting dynamics here that we're seeing between the miners and how it's playing out. All right, let's go back here. Let's see if we're getting close to the end of the questions. I think we are. Okay. Could you please explain how is your PE20 price estimation, e.g. for Bitfarms, calculated step for step? Okay, let's go back to that spreadsheet here. We'll do it on, it doesn't have to be, well, we'll do it on Bitfarms. Why not? All right. So here's the way I'll look at it. This, I'm looking at it is if a company has large growth happening forward, right? For them, I give them a higher PE multiple, or PS, I think is another one that you could use as well on it. So if they're growing nicely, I give them a higher multiple. So this is subjective to me, right? Where I could see things possibly could be at. If they're not growing that much, I'll give them like a 15. If they're kind of growing a little bit, I'll give them a 10. If they're not growing, I'll give them a PE of 5. That's kind of the way I look at it. So then I take the last 3 quarters, which are reported numbers, right? And then the current quarter that we just finished, which was end of September, I use the estimated number for that, and I come up with the price for them based on that. So it's the formula is B5, right? The total 50% and 75% net income possibly. As Bitcoin price goes up higher, they should get a little bit more of a premium here because the revenues are going to be better and profit margins are going to be better as well. So that's kind of why I'm using those 2 variables here a little bit. And we use that divided by the number of shares outstanding times table times the PE on that one. That's the way it works out. You can see the formula down here. And that table A2 is up here for their shares outstanding. So that's how it all works into play. Hope that explains it. It's not rocket science, and it's definitely not 100%, accurate, but at least it has helped me out in looking to see which ones are overvalued potentially right now and undervalued as well. All right. Let's see. Okay, talked about that. Okay, I think I missed some of you guys' questions. Seb, is Mara buy at current prices? I think so. I think they have a lot going for them. I think so. I personally don't like the operational uptime. That's why I'm not into them. But yeah, I think they are a good buy right now. Okay, we talked about Cleansparks. Okay, yeah, I missed a couple of them. Okay, so let's see. We talked about that one. So would you take BitX or Cleanspark options? I don't do options with the miners. I just sleep better at night not doing that. And I just continue dollar cost average in, buy as much as I can over a period of time, right? So that's kind of the way it worked out for me. So I don't know which would be better, BitX or BitX is what, a 2x type of Bitcoin, right? Right now. So I don't know. Okay, we talked about that one. Seb, demand building for Bitcoin, treasury strategy, corporations holdings, Bitcoin as a store of value. This could be huge. BlackRock, blazing the trail. Yeah. The treasury strategy is going to be interesting depending on who gets in there, right? That's who's going to lead it possibly, that narrative. And then can they get that passed through the House and Senate in order for it to come to the president's desk to sign? They're going to have to change the laws to do that. Will it get done? That I don't know. Let's see, P5, got to hit the bed, Seb. Thank you for your time, due diligence, and response. Good luck, man. I will pay this forward. You're very welcome, and thanks, for coming in. But have a great night. Okay. Appreciate your social hour for insights and data. You got to have a high tolerance for risk. This is a fun sector to play for an 82-year-old guy. and hit the like button, people. It's free. Yeah, appreciate it. Well, you're still 82 years young, right? You still have at least another possibly 20, 30 years to go with modern medicine and everything else. So I wish you all the best, and thanks for coming in to watch this. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's see here. Thanks, Seb, for all your important contributions to give us more opportunities. You're very welcome. I appreciate you guys coming in here. I'm just sharing what I know. I have a passion for this stuff, and hopefully you guys learn something from it. Hopefully you gain something from it, and that's all I ask. Hi, Seb. Benji should deliver 21x, or my wife will gonna kick me out of the house. Yeah, I've got a lot invested in them as well. I don't think my wife's gonna kick me out because I still have Cleanspark and IREN there, so I'm kind of protected. But if I had like everything in the Bitfarms, yeah, she would probably kick me out. Thank you, Seb. I always learn a lot from you every day. Thank you so much, and thank you for coming in here. I appreciate that. Let's see, miners have been a multiple on BTC. Do miners going the HPC AI direction like Terra still a strong multiple? That I don't know. They're getting more on the multiple on the HPC AI play, right? But that might not come to fruition for some of those guys until like sometime late 2025, I'm guessing, if they build out the data centers and things like that. And then what kind of customers do they get? So it's highly dependent on that. Whereas the miners that are growing tremendously in their hash rate growth right now, with Bitcoin going up to 100,000, 150,000 potentially, maybe even more than that, they're going to get a nice bid up because of that. Let's see here. Hey, Seb, given that Amazon is getting into nuclear energy, are you more bullish on Wolf? No, actually less so. And the reason for that is because I've been saying for quite a while, I could be wrong on this, and I've said this as well, that the hyperscalers are looking to do things their way. More or less, they're looking to possibly get megawatts, yes, but you need megawatts in good regions. You need redundancies, fiber, both ways, right? You need two separate fiber networks at best, if you can do that. So that way, if one goes down, you still have connectivity with the other one. You need redundancies and backup, everything else, water, all that stuff has to be into play in that. So for that reason, I'm still very, very skeptical on this HPC, AI play, miners, hyperscalers, all that stuff happening into it. I think if it happens, the hyperscalers will actually buy out the miner sites or buy out the miners directly because, I mean, the hyperscalers have hundreds of billions of dollars of cash laying around that they got nothing better to do with. You know, they could throw 5-10 billion on one of these guys, get the infrastructure that they need, the megawatts, and forego all the Bitcoin mining side of things. So, I mean, that would be good if, Wolf got a bid for like 3-4 billion or something like that. Would they take it? Probably. That would be, but it's not a thing that's going to be like long lasting, I don't think. The only deal that we saw that was really great was with CORZ and CoreWeave. That's like a one in a decade deal, possibly. Let's see. Cleanspark last Bitcoin cycle peaked on January 2021, way before Bitcoin peaked, which was November. Do you expect some scenario or will the increasing hash rate into next year change things? It should change things. Also, remember that in January of that year, 2021, when they actually pivoted somewhat into Bitcoin mining, they only had 100 petahash. And, people started, okay, yeah, Cleanspark's getting into Bitcoin mining. Okay, but what does that mean? Once people actually found out what's happening there, they're like, well, yeah, they're at 100 petahash. How far or how much growth can they have in a year? That's why the stock actually went down through that. Hey, Special, would you please comment Cleanspark or Bitfarms? Bitfarms is more risky, I believe. So I would go with Cleanspark. If you're just looking for a good play, Cleanspark is the play to do. Okay, let's see. Seb, on Tuesday at 2 p.m. 15th, it dropped 3,000 points in 1 hour. Then by 3, we were back. Really? For Bitcoin? Let's see. So you're saying on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Tuesday, that was okay. Let's take a look at it here on the 1 hour chart. Monday, Tuesday. This is the chart that I'm seeing here, unless you're using a different source on it. I see it only getting down to, I got down to what did it get down to? I did get down to 64,778. Yeah, so we did have a wick there. Okay. So you're right. Yeah, we did get down that low. And that was a nice little reset here. RSI on the 1 hour chart has been coming down while price has actually been going up here. It's up a little bit now. But yeah, we'll see. Regardless what it does day to day, I think the long term is still very bullish. I think Bitcoin's still going up. So I don't really pay too much attention to the day-to-day stuff unless I see a red in the miners and it's like, okay, I want to buy some more on that one. Okay, covered that. Okay. Hey Seb, I'm still thinking about some low cap lottery plays. I think they'll move. Sorry, my eyes is not that great. I'm trying to read it off the teleprompter here. Even if they're not fundamentally or operationally attractive, is Mawson the best in that sense? Mawson has positioned themselves to be more of a hosting provider for mining and for possibly HPCI as well. I don't know if they're going to be the best of the best. They were on the brink of going under, and they got a nice deal here, I believe, with the HPC customer that's helping that out. And they also sold facilities to Cleanspark back in, when was this, 2022, I think it was. That Cleanspark has done a nice job building those out as well. So I don't know. Yeah, Mawson's, I'll have to do a little bit more research on Mawson, but I don't know. I mean, any of those guys, there's a lottery ticket there, possibly. Okay, Kaz says, Cleanspark keeps me getting kicked out of the house. Yep. Thanks, Seb. Hope to hear from Ben G soon. Yeah, if I hear something from him, I'll let you guys know, right, that he responded back, and we'll try and get something going. Okay. Kaz says, but if the Bitfarms hits $6, the house is paid off. Yeah, I'll have my house paid off. I'll have my students' loans paid off. My car's paid off. Everything will be paid off. I will be a debt-free man for the first time in my life, except for when I was young and, not making anything. Okay. Lots of fear in regard to Bitfarms lagging on Twitter, X, Reddit, Stock Twits, and now on Seb's channel. Be greedy when others are fearful. Right. Exactly. I was greedy today. I bought 2,000 shares of it. I don't think you get more. Well, you could probably get more greedy than that if somebody has more money, but that's all I had. Okay. Let's see here. Thank you for all your hard work and sharing your knowledge and thoughts. You're very welcome. Thank you so much for coming in. Robbie says, Riot just warming up, potentially. Andrea just got here, said, what did you sell? I sold CORZ. CORZ and bought 2,000 shares of Bitfarms, 100 shares of Cleanspark, 115 shares of IREN as well. So that's kind of what I did, a rotation today. Let's see, Andre, thanks, Seb. Have a great night. Yeah, I'm going to probably call it a day here. We're all caught up here. So, Andrea, if you want to take the time, go ahead and take a look at the video again. If you want to see all the stuff that we talked about, since you're coming in a little bit late here, and we started a little bit early too. So that's probably the reason why you're a little late. But we'll see what happens. Oh, Andrea bought 3,000 shares of Bitfarms today. Awesome. So yeah, nice job there. Others are fearful. I want to be greedy at the time. So we'll see if this plays out for us. I think it will. We just need to give it a little bit more time. All right. So we'll call it a day here for everyone. And like I said before, Fridays we'll really want to do a stream unless something really drastic happens in this space. Everybody else has got to just kind of relax, take it easy, enjoy Fridays. The week is over. Enjoy the weekends. And we'll get back into the swing of things on Sunday night as well. And then also I'm going to be co-hosting with Bitcoin Static Mining Guy on Sunday. I think that's at 6:15. I think it's Central Time, I think, on Spaces as well. So we'll talk about miners there as well, everything that's going on in the space. You guys are more than welcome to join there and then join the space. Put your two cents into it as well. All right, but otherwise, have a wonderful Friday. Be safe out there. Don't do anything stupid, and have a wonderful and safe weekend. I'll see you guys on Sunday.